at our BMCC campus and our Hostos campus. They're the Educational Performing Arts workshops. So we got the CAP program to align their workshop curriculum with our college and success career curriculum, just to kind of reinforce the goals of that new curriculum, long-term college and career success and building skills. So in an effort to reduce the amount of emails I have to send out to try to coordinate these things, I've created a little doodle poll. Is everyone not familiar with doodle? Doodle is sent from heaven for people who have to coordinate meetings. It's essentially a tool from the angels, is what I say. So let me show you if this works, which it's not. So, oh, here we go. So what I'm going to do basically is send everyone a doodle poll via email. So let me show you what this looks like. So everyone's going to get invited to participate in this doodle poll. And it'll basically look like this. And it'll lay out all the available CAP workshops, because some schools have already booked up most of the fall. So I believe like Pan American, Port Richmond, School of Excellence is coming next Friday. And one other one I can't remember, Peace and Diversity is also coming next Friday. So most of the fall is booked up, but as you see, for November 13th, we have two, so just in case you don't know, it's 2 schools can go per workshop, per campus. So 2 schools can attend BMCC, 2 schools can attend Hostos, and they happen on Fridays only. So you can see November 13th, we have BMCC available. Friday, November 20th, there's only 1 BMCC slot. And it goes all the way to the open slots that we have right now, okay? So what you'll do essentially, once I invite you guys, there'll be a bunch of fields. You enter the name of your school. So can I use School of Excellence as an example? So you would enter the name of your school and just check off which date and campus you want. Once I see that, I'll confirm via email, and that's the slot you're booked for. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Questions?
If we already booked, we're okay.
If you're already booked, you're okay.
Where am I booked? Next Friday, you said?
Next
Friday
Friday.
where?
You are booked at Hostos, I believe.
Communication is good.
I spoke to Miss Noonan.
All right,
So just
and
touch base with her, and she
she'll
told
add
me
this to my calendar.
she told me 25 students, just so you know.
That's the whole, all right, no problem.
How many students can we wait?
It's a max of 25 students per school, because the spaces that we get for the workshops can typically only hold about 54, so we take into consideration chaperones and stuff like that. But it's a max of 25 students.
Are you getting this information from the first time we met, we had to choose a slot?
Yeah, I have to go back and confirm some spring dates. What's your school again?
Bronx Community.
Bronx Community, yeah.
I chose March 4, I believe it was.
So what I did was, just for an FYI, the first workshop, I sent out that tentative schedule that had possible dates. A lot of those dates were switched, but I sent out emails to all the schools that marked down a date for that school, asking if you still want that date. And if I got a yes response, I marked you down. So just send me a response saying, yeah, we're definitely good for that date, and I'll take it off if this is here.
Oh,
Okay? Yeah.
I have over 25 students, so should I register for another workshop this fall?
Yeah, if you are one of the schools that has more than 25 students within LINCT, register for 2 slots. Because I have your roster number, so I'll know that's the situation.
The presentations, are they the same whether it's in the fall or the spring, or different?
There's a different one in the fall and from the spring. The fall is going to be focused on exploring careers and college selection and kind of the connection between that. And the spring is going to be overcoming barriers. So they're going to talk about institutional, personal, and social, societal barriers in regards to college access and kind of positive youth development. But because we have 7 slots in the fall and 7 slots in the spring, that's 28 slots per semester. what I'm suggesting is, I know in the past we have said you have to attend 2 workshops. Try to get at least 1, and then unless it's a situation where you have a large amount of LINCT students, try to get at least 1, and then I can fit you in for a second one. But I would say try to get at least 1. I really want everyone to participate. I really encourage the new schools, if you've never experienced a CAT workshop, get your students to them. After the workshop, they have an opportunity to take part in a campus tour that is led by the SSLs and the ambassadors, which are those 2 student positions within LINCT. And they kind of they get free lunch, they get pizza, so it's typically from 10:30 to about 1:30 field trip. Any other questions?
Friday, right?
I'm sorry, it's always Fridays. Yep. Okay. So again, if you wrote down a certain slot from the last PD and you didn't respond to my email confirming, and you see that that slot is open here, just shoot me an email, say, no, I definitely want that, and I'll take it off, and that's not a problem. Okay? And these invitations will be going out Monday, so you'll get it then. Why does this look so crazy?
But you don't have to sign up for 2, 1 now and 1
One
later.
is enough. No, exactly.
Oh.
1 is enough. All right. Moving along. So did everyone get an invitation to something called Piazza? Can you raise your hand so I know?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. This was sent on Friday, I believe.
Last week?
No, this was last week. Yeah, last week. Something
I see
around
mine
that
from
time.
Tuesday, October 15th.
Okay, so then it was sent out Tuesday.
Maybe just me.
You didn't get it?
If you go to your DO email, you can search for Piazza.
Whatever email that you provided us is the email I've been using, unless you tell me otherwise.
And I'm having because you have to paste a code, right? That's the one you have to paste the code?
Mhm.
In your
I,
DO
every
email.
time I want to paste a code, it gives me a different code.
Are you trying to do it on your phone or on the computer?
On the computer.
You want to show me afterwards? Okay, yeah.
And
So
when is Piazza?
I'm going to go through it right now. So Piazza is essentially an online sharing tool that we are introducing this year. So a lot of times, you know, it's hard for counselors to come to every monthly PD. We understand that. But the approach we're trying to take this year, this is the first time that we have full day PDs for counselors. Typically there were only, I believe, 2 hours historically, and now we have you guys here from 9 to 3. We're trying to split the days up, kind of like what you saw today. In the morning, offer you guys resources for your students, something that you might not be aware of or not know, have a lot of guest speakers come in. Then the later half is going to focus more on LINCT. So because there's going to be valuable information given, if you miss it, I don't want you to miss out on that information, and I don't want you guys having a million emails from me in your inbox. So we're using something called Piazza, and Piazza is essentially, I'm going to log in with my test email so you guys can see what it looks like on your end. It's completely free. And it's just a space where you can get all PD materials and info, as well as the curriculum. So when you log in, this is what you'll see. So the math teachers and the ELA counselors are going to be using this as well. This is welcome counselors. So there's a little message for you, kind of explaining what Piazza does, what you can find here, all that stuff, my contact info if you don't have it. And what you would do is go to resources. Again, this is just a description. If you have time, go through it. But this is the good stuff. Go to resources. You go down to where it says counselors. Counselor PD resources, all the PowerPoints that I share, that our guest speakers share, any hard copy handouts that have valuable information, they'll be, and also the Carlos's videos, they'll be uploaded here so you can always find them. So last month, I remember we presented the student pathway for you guys, that Prezi that kind of showed the journey of the student. That's right here. Our program overview, all the slides, everything is going to go up there. Then when you go down, these are all the, that's a typo, gotta fix that, curriculum resources. So you have all the handouts, as well as the editable curriculum, which is basically the Word document, but then also the PDF in case you just want to print extra copies of handouts, as well as the session notes and all the handouts. Do you have a question, Lucinda?
Yes. Would I be, you know the map that you have that I find so useful? I was trying to print that because I'm making a bulletin board just for LINCT. But I was not able to print. You think I'd be able to print that map from here?
So with the career map, I'm glad you mentioned that. The career map is definitely tricky to print. If you want more hard copies of that career map, send me an email and I'll mail it out to you.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have them printed by an actual printer. You're not the first one. When we try to print it via like the PDF, it comes out crazy. That's why we've been telling everyone, no, take the binder because you have those career maps in it. So just send me an email and I'll mail it to you. Okay? But just so you see, just to show you, all you have to do is click on it and it'll take you right there. So now you have the curriculum. Okay?
It has my wrong school, but I can fix it, I think.
What has your wrong school?
Piazza has to be listed as a different school.
Okay, that's good to know.
I'll look at it.
Thanks. Any questions around Piazza? Do you guys think that that's something that is useful to you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay, perfect, good, good, I'm glad. And again, if you haven't gotten an invitation email, shoot me an email, because this is why sometimes our emails are a little tricky. Whatever emails your principal provided to us on the commitment letter is what we transferred into our contact list. So if they gave us a wrong email or there was one letter missing or something, it screws everything up essentially. So I have a lot of counselors saying, I've never gotten anything, can you email me here instead? If you don't get my emails, and I've been sending a lot of emails as of recently, just let me know, email me, and then I can fix our contact group, okay? All right, next thing, ambassadors. Everyone remember what ambassadors are? What are ambassadors? Our first year CUNY students. So on the LINCT side, the main thing, besides kind of coming here and spending wonderful time with you guys, I manage the Ambassador Peer Mentoring Program, which is our first year students that go to our community colleges. Our ambassadors, essentially what they do is kind of act as what we like to call flash mentors, because they don't necessarily have a long-term mentoring relationship with your students, but they offer positive peer influence. So they go to your high schools to present on college access, their experience, but they also talk about LINCT to Success, because like I mentioned last time, one of the big issues that we had with At Home in College is that no one knew they were part of At Home in College, right? So we're really utilizing our ambassadors to kind of increase that program awareness goal that we have with our funders this year. So the visits, hopefully, I've already started, the ambassadors have been hired, they're in the middle of training right now. Hopefully their visits will begin November, December. Once that happens, I'll probably do like another doodle poll and reach out to you guys to figure out when you would want two of our ambassadors to come to your class and do a presentation for your students, okay? Do you guys have a sense now if you think morning or afternoon would probably be best for ambassador visits?
Yeah.
Is that mornings?
Yeah, I think almost always.
School by school, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we'll figure that out. But just wanted to kind of give you guys a heads up of what's happening. Any questions about ambassadors? All right. The next thing, the LINCT scholarships. So this was an email sent out, I forgot when, but essentially we are going to be sending out the LINCT scholarship list this coming Monday. It's going to be done via ShareFile. So I know that Kate mentioned ShareFile earlier. We haven't even started using ShareFile yet because the first roster doesn't contain social security numbers, so we didn't have to share it by that. But the lists are going to be uploaded onto ShareFile. Again, you'll have your own folder for your school, and just start inputting the application control numbers as they come in. And then we're going to be processing them on our end on a rolling basis, and you'll be able to see when we've submitted it. So you can kind of tell your student, you're fine, it's been paid, don't worry. But one thing I really want to stress, if you have a student that pays out of pocket for their CUNY application, we cannot reimburse them. So if they're a LINCT student and they've already paid out of pocket, unfortunately then they've just paid out of pocket and they've kind of lost their shot at the LINCT scholarship. So I really urge them. Some counselors have been saying, but my student, she really wants to pay, or he really wants to pay, he wants to make sure it's processed. Tell them to just hold off. We're going to take care of it, but we can't reimburse them if they pay out of pocket, so encourage them not to. If they are part of a CBO, College Success or Access program, and their CBO offers them a application waiver, they can either take the CBO's waiver or they can take ours. Either way, they don't have to pay out of pocket, but that's, totally up to the student and totally up to you guys. The last day to input the application control numbers on this list will be January 31st, 2016, because we have to submit it on our end before the application deadline, which is February 1st. So we don't want 2 students entered February 1st last minute and we don't get to it because, you never know what's going to happen. So the deadline is going to be January 31st for the application scholarship. Any questions around that? Okay, cool. So the testing dates are being finalized. We pretty much, I would say, are 80% set with the fall testing dates, which are going to start in mid-January and go through mid-February. We're just finalizing a couple last logistics, like staffing and things like that. But once those testing dates are set in stone, we will be providing you with, this is your testing date. They're gonna take these many students at this time. We provide the Metro cards and we provide the lunch vouchers, so you don't have to. All you kind of have to do is make sure your students show up. Yeah.
So the testing dates are going to be dictated to us.
Yes.
Now, mid-January, and it's difficult for regions, so
Yeah.
like my principal, he may not let me have the building, and the end of January, I've seen a trip on Friday, we're leaving early, so I don't know what days you're going to be telling us to do it. So it might be a could be a problem.
And I'm assuming that's like for most schools probably.
That's right.
Yeah.
End of the month of January will be regions.
Yeah.
And we
Just something to think about.
Something to think about. I'll definitely.
Choose the dates.
Yeah. So it still hasn't been exactly decided on exactly how that's going to happen. We always do it by location, basically. What makes the most sense location-wise, what's the testing site going to be? But I'll definitely bring back to the team that time frame isn't ideal for the high schools. I am sure that when Teresa kind of coordinated the dates, she had in mind regions, so I don't know if maybe it's changed a little bit, but I'll definitely bring it back to the team so that, it's still not too late to kind of shift things because it's early still, so we'll see. But you'll definitely be known with time because, I understand you guys have a lot on your plate. Maurice?
I have a large group. Would you do it one day with so many? Because I remember the last time I had over 20 students last year, and a few of them were absent and some were lost. Now, would you consider 2 days so I could have a manageable group, or no?
How many
I'm just wondering.
students do you have right now?
I don't remember. I think I have about 37.
You have about 37. It's hard to say because it really depends on how many students the testing sites themselves can accommodate. A lot of our four-year colleges have, I'm not going to say that. Some of our schools have better testing sites than others. I'm not going to,
But
do
you
that.
sent me to Hostess.
But yeah.
That's where you had sent me.
Yeah,
last
we
time.
would probably send you again. If that's something that we can do, we probably will. But most likely it's going to have to be 2 visits, honestly. If we keep you at Hostos, most likely it's going to have to be 2 visits.
But I prefer 2 visits.
I mean,
because
1 visit, sorry, one visit per school.
Then I have to get a lot of
Yeah.
other people to help.
Yeah. Well, the thing with the testing sites though, each school, a couple schools last year, what they did, and I don't know if this is something you can do, they had, they asked to kind of have extra help just for bringing the students, but they didn't stay with them because we have the ambassadors and the SSLs and the proctors, so it's just a matter of actually kind of going with them over.
They wanted me to be there to really vouch that these students were mine.
Oh, yeah, you would just kind of have to bring them, essentially. Yeah, that's the tough part. But most likely it's going to be the same thing as last year. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I just was wondering
Yeah.
because now I have more students this year.
Yeah, okay. So we'll see then. To be determined.
Right, just wonder if you guys know that there is a student-to-staff ratio that the DOE requires?
I was not aware of
Okay,
that.
15 to 1.
15
We
to
cannot
1?
bring
Okay.
16 kids. No, 15 to 1 for high school, 10 to 1 for junior high school. High school students, 15 to 1.
15 to 1?
15 to 1 for high schools.
Okay.
And you will have to, and that becomes a problem. Like, even if we have 20, if I have 17 kids, DOE requires that I have there too.
A second person.
The second person. And, you have to argue with the principal because he thinks that like 20 people is, not enough, is not a lot of people. But you can lose, and the DOE is not really, if something happens to one of the kids and they're like 17 kids and there's only one person, you lose your job. They don't care.
Now I have a question
That
for you.
seems
Does
good. They
it, does it
take it
have to
very
be a
seriously.
school staff member that goes?
Has to.
It has to be a school staff member that
It
goes?
actually.
Or a parent.
Or a
Or a
parent?
parent of a student.
No, no, it has to be really a school, no, no, it has to be a teacher, you know, in the trips that we do. And then there could be a parent or the parents, but the main chaperone has to be a licensed teacher. or
A
something,
licensed
yeah.
teacher?
See,
Okay.
when I went, I had a 20-something that I'd go with a parent.
Yeah.
It was me and a
Yeah.
parent.
I mean, 50 students is a lot,
Just
so-
try to get that para,
Yeah.
because that para also has responsibilities of the school.
Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me know. I didn't know about that, so I'm gonna go back. We're actually, just to keep you guys in the loop what's happening on our end, we're meeting next week to kind of finalize this whole testing thing. So I'll take to them the region's feedback, I'll take to them the 15-to-1 feedback. And again, we're not here to make it challenging for you. At least on our end, I wanna advocate for you guys as much as possible and make it the most seamless transition it can be from your school to the testing site. So we'll put a pin in all that, and again, by next week, hopefully everything is kind of set in stone, and then we'll communicate with you guys with plenty of time so that the planning can begin on your end. And if there's something that's an issue, at least we have plenty of time to catch it, and we can kind of see if there's any support needed on our end that we can, any support needed from us that we can provide you guys with. But thanks for that's really good to know, actually. Okay. Any other testing things that you want to discuss? Okay. So we already did W-9s. Anybody else first time attending a PD that hasn't completed a W-9, just make sure I get it by the end. So in case this wasn't, this information wasn't given to you or you didn't review the commitment letter for whatever reason, you guys are paid your stipends 3 times a year. So it's going to be, the first one is going to be processed in October, so you guys will most likely get that check end of October, early November. Then again, it's going to be done in January, then again it's January, February, and then again at the end of the summer. Just a heads up, whatever address you gave on your W-9, a hard check is going to be mailed to that address, just so you know. And again, counselors, unlike teachers, are paid for every single PD. But with that, we've only allotted in our budget 1 counselor or representative per school. So unfortunately, I know a lot of our schools want to bring extra people just because, you know, they want to give them an opportunity to take part in LINCT and the PDs, but we can technically, I only have money to pay 1 counselor per school, so sorry, can't do that. Any questions with that? Okay, cool. So I kind of wanted to see how things have been going with you guys. It's been about a little over a month now. I mean, with the days off, I think it's been like 5 days off already since school started, but I kind of wanted to see what things have been going on. So you have the 3 strips of paper in front of you. You have a green, a yellow, and a red. So the green is you don't have one? I got you. Can you pass that down? Thank you. Anyone else not have the little strips? Okay. So green means yes, yellow is unsure, and red means no. Please be as honest as possible. I'm sure you guys will, but please be as honest as possible because then this kind of will help me assess any gaps in programming and we can kind of take it from there. So we're going to have a couple statements, and if you agree, again, green is yes, yellow is unsure, red is no. All right, first one. The seniors in my school understand that they are a part of LINCT to Success and know of the benefits and opportunities. Let's raise them up. Okay, so let me start with the reds a little bit. Can I call out some reds? Christy, why did you say no?
Because I just don't think the teacher fully explained what was going on to them. When I went in there, they had no idea.
Okay. Do you think that you would be able to support that part, or is there something that we can do on our end?
Yeah, just there's been so many schedule changes with
Yeah.
that class that we haven't had a set roster until,
Right.
I want to say last Friday.
Okay, perfect. And something that the counselors have been doing is, and once you have access to Piazza, that student pathway, that presentation provides a really good visual, because essentially it's built around a student named David, and it kind of shows his journey. So feel free to use that if you want it. Stacy, I'm so sorry.
I only have like maybe 5 or 6 kids who qualify. and
Okay.
they're in classes that are not just 5 or 6 kids.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
to talk about it as a whole is a little difficult.
Yeah, do you think that, so I'm glad you brought that up. So this year, another thing that's different is a lot of the feedback we got last year is that students kind of felt stigmatized knowing that they were a part of the program. So the way that we kind of addressed that issue was presenting it in a different way. So the welcome letters that we sent out for schools to distribute went to all the students, right? Because essentially all the students are part of LINCT to Success, because LINCT to Success has those 3 components, right? Access, transition, and success. So in the access piece, the only students who kind of technically get services are those students that fall in that eligibility criteria. But come transition, the entire graduating class is served by a college coach. So that's why we're kind of phrasing it. Everyone is part of LINCT to Success, but some of you are going to get extra perks. So I don't know if that would help when presenting it to the class, because technically everyone in that class is getting a college coach, and they should know that because it's extra support for the summer. And then you can just say, some of you are going to get extra perks because of the way that the program is designed, but all of you are part of this CUNY program. Sorry, one second. Okay. And who had a yellow up? I think Brenda. Why are you unsure?
Well, I went to the class a couple of times and I explained it to the kids that what LINCT is all about. And he was like, well, who's at it? You just said that everybody and all the English students have it because all the students get the English. And I was trying to explain to them through their, look at the course on their schedule. And in QH, you actually in the program. I didn't think they got that. And yesterday, because they're all in the math class, I actually went to the math class and I went through it with them. And I think they were excited, and I had like 3 students in there that are not qualified, and I think they were the ones who felt stigmatized. They felt really
They felt like they were missing out.
Yeah, and I think in a way they wanted to be in it when I was in the English class, but they didn't find out till yesterday they were actually in it. And it brought up a lot of questions, and they started to ask questions. I just have to keep forcing it in.
Can you give me an example of like one question that they asked?
No.
No? Okay, that's
No, it
fair.
wasn't about LINCT.
Oh, it was just,
it was
okay.
about general college
Oh, okay,
questions
okay.
where they are a little nervous about their changes in the school, how it's going to affect them, and will I be available to always come in and tell them information.
So one thing, if that comes up in anyone else's schools, if what we label non-linked students, just to kind of help us identify those in the eligibility criteria versus those who aren't, things like the campus tours or mentoring opportunities, they do have that, they do get those during the transition process as well. So that's something, even though they don't get the assessment test, they will get the ambassador visit if they're in the class. During the transition, the coaches do take them on campus tours as well, or via our campus coordinators. So there are, the thing that they're really not getting, I would say, is the test part.
That's what they really
Which is what they
everyone wants.
Yeah,
the test part,
yeah. But everything else, they will have a chance to do it. Just might not be on the same timeline
In the
as
scholarship.
their peers. Yeah.
We did mention scholarship in the testing, but that's what everyone wants.
Thanks, Lucia.
Well, the problem that I have with the students being a transfer school
Yeah.
is that they just want to have the classes to graduate. Although they see the benefit of being in the program, I'm having a hard time keeping them in the class because they all want to drop the class. Because they said, but I don't need that for graduation. It's not part of graduation requirement. So that's the problem that I'm having with the students.
Has anyone?
The class is part of graduation requirement, it's English 7.
English 7, yeah.
But if they don't need English 7.
They do.
Oh,
Everybody needs it.
No,
it's a transfer
I'm a
school.
transfer school, so they may come with English 7 already, so. Being a transfer school, that's what I'm having. They just want to take the classes that they need to graduate. They
That
don't.
makes sense, though, they really honestly shouldn't be in that, right? I would,
But you need an
that's
English
valid,
class
valid
every
argument.
semester, you're in high school.
I understand.
Not in a
Not in
transfer
a
school.
transfer, you need.
I have
every
the same.
semester.
Transfer school are very unique.
Every semester you're in high school.
Right.
But then in our year, you take English.
I think we have a suggestion over here.
Every trimester.
On top of everything. Okay.
I mean, a lot of the students, especially in the math, and some of them in English too, when I went to the class to tell them about it, I mean the classes, because I have 3 classes, I tell them that even though they have passed, they have the requirement for math to graduate. This class is really going to help them because that's where they will give them a chance to take the test twice. Because if they don't pass in January, then they have the chance to take the assessment test in May, because if they don't pass, they have remedial course that's going to go into their financially. So I go there that way, and that's how they're
And
not.
that's what I said. They understand the benefits of the program, but these are students that they have gone through
It's a different population.
3 or 4 schools. So this is it. They don't want to waste any more time. That's why they call it, Miss, just give me what I need to graduate.
And
The 44 credits and the 5 regions, that's all they want
It's
to
like
hear.
what
So
you
Lucia,
It's wonderful, all of that.
what you can do if you want, and just start, not to cut you off, but me and you can touch base, because it sounds to me like, obviously that's a bigger issue. It's not just you can see it from different perspectives. Is it a motivation issue? There's a lot of layers in that response that the students are giving you, especially with that population. So what maybe we can do is, kind of an idea I have is when it comes to the ambassador program, because it's a peer program, maybe shaping what that workshop looks like a little bit differently, so they're not just hearing it from you, but then someone who kind of went through that experience, because we have a couple ambassadors that went through GED programs, went through transfer schools, that their stories kind of might mirror what your students are going
That would
through.
be wonderful.
So just, I mean, when it comes to things like that, when it comes to additional support or things that you're seeing from your students that you kind of don't know, and it's linked related and you don't really know how to address it, I mean, shoot me an email and we can see what we can do, okay? All
Maybe
right.
that class can happen as elective too. I don't know.
Well, you telling them, but if they don't need any left, they don't want
So,
it.
we're gonna be moving right along. Number 2, I have begun using the college and career success curriculum with my students. Yes, unsure, or no. Some of you are gonna be no because you don't have the binder yet. Totally get. Vincent, you got the binder. Why is your thing red? You break my heart. Okay. For those of you who haven't started using it yet, can you shout out a couple reasons as to why not?
Well, first is that the first month of school, I'm the guidance counselor for the 10th grade.
Okay.
And this I have 390 students that I need to get in place, and I'm still doing that. I've been in the classroom. I've shared the binder with the classroom teacher.
Okay.
So she has copies of all the stuff.
Oh, good. Okay.
And, it's a work in progress for us.
Yeah.
I've been in there for other things with the college advisor, because I'm also not the college advisor for the senior.
Got it. Got it.
Class.
So I'm glad you brought that up though,
Yeah.
because obviously that's a real issue that a lot of schools deal with. Sometimes you just don't have the time to take
Right.
a period every Friday, once a week. That's why with this curriculum, kind of what we talked about last month, you guys do have certain creative freedom on how it's implemented.
Yeah.
This is, what we're giving you is almost like a blueprint, right? If you have a college success, access, readiness, whatever you want to label it, curriculum already implemented in your school that you have found to be successful, and a lot of the topics that are covered in our curriculum are covered in yours, what you can do is pull from things that maybe you don't have, or pull activities that you think might be helpful. On the flip side, another thing some counselors are doing, they don't have the time to get into the classrooms, give it to a teacher.
Yeah, working with the teacher.
And have them find a way to implement it into their curriculum. Melinda?
Yeah, I think that's, I think in each school, like, it's unique, right, to what,
Exactly.
what we have in place. So, when I can't get into that classroom, I have a strong relationship with the ELA teacher as it is, and we're always in communication about what needs to get covered. And also, we have advisory, so there's always,
There's
another
ways.
way to get that information
Exactly.
out there to, our students. So,
Exactly.
I
And
understand
and I'll be honest with you, I'm not a stickler on use this lesson this day, this way. I think that, and I'll be honest with you, you know, your schools now, there's a fee associated. I don't think there's anything that I can say, you're paying for this information, for these benefits, for these opportunities, I understand that, but I will encourage you to find a way to get this information to your students, because a lot of thought, a lot of intention was put behind it, a lot of research was done, and it's really, really important that they get it somehow. So even if it's not the way that we've kind of outlined for it, ideally, because every school's staffing resources is different, the way you guys are stretched is different, but finding a way to kind of make sure that they get this information is really all it's about, honestly. Okay, cool. Anything else about using it? And for those that this is your first time reviewing the binder, feel free to send me any questions you may have around it, but we're gonna review what that implementation looks like in a second. So, I'm gonna skip 3. So many, there's another typo, 6. Okay, I find implementing weekly college and career sessions beneficial. I find that implementing the college and career sessions beneficial. Green, yellow, red. Giselle, why are you unsure?
Because sometimes I feel like I'm pulling teeth. Like, I'll do the lesson plan, and they're just like, whatever, do I really need to do this? And then you get the opposite. You get some kids that are interested in actually doing the assignment, but it's like half and half. So I feel like it works for some kids and not for others.
Yeah.
They don't want to think about their future or their life skills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's 50-50.
Okay. Who were the other yellows? Can I call Stacy? Yeah. Are you unsure?
Because for me, it's very repetitive for my kids. They're getting it a couple of other places. We have an advisory class. So I find it beneficial, but sometimes maybe not.
Yeah, because they're already getting that information.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Anyone else who's unsure? So how about let's go more on the positive, green. Those of you that said it was beneficial. Chris?
We have weekly town hall meetings with all the seniors, so it's just a way to check in and just see where they're at with everything that's going on.
Okay, perfect. All right, moving right along. So my students are engaged by the college and career success sessions. So I know we already got some information. It's 50-50. Yes, unsure, no. And this is also just some stuff, just so you guys know, all this kind of feedback, I'll probably be taking it back to the developers, because right now we're working on the creation of the spring sessions. So if the consensus is, you know, maybe the activities are repetitive or maybe the topics are repetitive, that's stuff that I can bring back to that team and think about. So can I see what the responses were again? They are engaged by the college and career success. A lot of yellows. Okay.
Depends on the kids.
Depends on the kids. Would we all agree that it depends on the kids, or would we think that we're seeing something in the curriculum that maybe we need to change on our end?
I don't think it's the curriculum per se.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I have a 72 on the English readings.
Okay.
And I come in the first week of school, hi Rich, listen, we want you to take the English readings again. And we're going to give you the CUNY assessment test. So my eyes have glazed over. And you need us to save you, a lot of money in college, and you can start college on time. Okay, so I feel a little better about that. But I'm still kind of weighed down with the test. And I can feel real dead energy in the class. It's like, I've got my class of POWs here, and they like me and I like them.
Yeah.
But they're like, good one. We know you care for us, but this is like a torture. So,
POWs.
yeah. So, but going to the point you referenced before, there's also a lot of fear, like, well, school lunch is about to end, and I'm to do all this myself. I'm scared out of my mind, and I don't know what to do. So, and it's a good launching off point, for their deeper fears, which they're covering with apathy. So, I don't think it's the curriculum per se, but there's a lot of ice to chisel through.
Okay, thank you for that. Is anyone, for those of you that kind of nodded and said yes, it might be the curriculum, is there any feedback on that you'd like to share right now? In regards to my students are engaged by the college and career success sessions, if you answered unsure, do you think that's more because it's just the students, or do you think it's something specific within the curriculum that we provided that maybe just isn't working? No, okay. So the last one, I feel confident in my ability to lead these workshops. Green, yellow, red. can I ask why red? Is it back to what you kind of said earlier?
Yeah, I work
Okay.
with a teacher. I'm a terrible presenter to kids. I'm not a teacher. I work with a teacher and a college advisor. I work very well one-on-one with students in
Yeah.
small groups. But
Yeah.
for me personally, to present to 34 students and get it organized and move them around, I don't have the
You know your
skills.
strengths.
Yeah, that's not one of them.
Yeah.
And you know, that's how it is.
That's fine.
A lot of good qualities, that's not one.
So, just to kind of, again, drive home the fact that I really want, the way I kind of view the curriculum is really a living document. You know, this is the first year that we rolled it out. We hired a team from the adult education sector within CUNY, and they kind of did all of this for us. And now kind of going into the development of the spring sessions, I don't know if I mentioned email so many times. I don't know if you guys got my other email about session notes, but I sent this, and it's basically a document that if any of you are leading or if your teachers are leading it, if you can find 2 minutes out of your day to fill these out after a session is led, because this way this is written feedback I can take back to the team, and we really are looking through it, and we want to take everything that you guys say into consideration. I asked some of you if you had completed any to bring them with you today. If you did, you can give them to me on your way out. That would be really helpful. If not, I have a couple copies today, but you can also download it and print it via Piazza or through that email. So just something to keep in mind. Any questions? No? Okay, cool. Let's do a quick time check. Yep. Anybody want some copies of the session field notes?
I just like to see what it looks like.
Yeah, that was. Okay, cool.
Is there any way this could possibly be taught already?
This curriculum? I mean, you could use it with your administrators if you want. It's yours to kind of implement it how you will. The topics on it are not specific to 12th graders. There are topics, especially the career and college ones, that 11th graders are going to start to think about, so it wouldn't kind of fall flat with that.
Will they ever move it? Because it's well,
It's a little too late.
Information overload from September to December.
It's something to think about. That's not a conversation we're having right now. In regards to expanding the program, more of the focus is on expanding on the college side, honestly. Yeah, but I agree with you. Okay. So last thing about kind of the whole curriculum thing. So I mentioned last month.
Felt like last semester.
I did.
It's been a whole school year already.
Can you stop? I'm exhausted. What's going on? Okay. That we were also going to be providing you guys with optional clinics. So as you can see, the binder only has 10 sessions. And then we're going to be providing 5 optional clinics for the fall and 5 optional clinics for the spring. So I just made a quick Google form. And again, these optional clinics are clinics that you can either tap on to the end of session 10 and continue on, because there are going to be a couple Fridays left or a couple weeks left before the spring, technically the spring semester starts and you receive that curriculum. Or there are sessions that you can kind of add in between the sessions if you think it's something that is useful or might interest your students. So I've just made a little Google form that I'm going to invite you guys to. And it just kind of outlines, I believe clinics on the following topic areas would be beneficial to my students. These are a couple ideas that the team came up with. Just some feedback that we've gotten from ASAP, from College Now, from our own team at Collaborative Programs. So things like aggressive versus assertive communication, conflict resolution skills, developing healthy relationships, interview skills, networking, professional writing basics, resume development, understanding emotion and behavior, utilizing social media for professional advancement. So there's a combination of kind of social emotional lessons as well as work readiness and like youth development centered things, but then there's also a field for other. So if there's something that you don't see on this list, then you want to give us that feedback, feel free to use other and then submit, and it'll just go into my handy dandy spreadsheet and I can take a look at that once we're developing those optional clinics. Ideally, right now, the soft deadline for these optional clinics is to deliver them to you guys by November. So so far it looks like that's going to be able to happen, but I'll keep you guys posted if for some reason we need to push it back. Okay, any questions? Cool. So just to review, especially for the counselors that this is your first time kind of even hearing about this curriculum, this is the purpose and goal. And one of the main reasons why we've kind of revamped and completely revised the curriculum is a lot of the feedback that we got from schools along the years is they want more skills-based learning. So last year our curriculum was focused on how do you apply for college, how do you deal with financial aid, how do you do this, how do you do that, but it wasn't really building actual skills that are transferable among different areas of your students' lives. So while there is still some college pieces in there, there's a lot of things around goal setting, time management, things that they can kind of use in various aspects of their lives. So the goal is, it's designed to enable students to practice the habits and skills consistent with long-term success, both in college and in the workplace. And I think that long-term word in there is really important because I'm sure you guys will agree with me. On our side, we're really trying to look at success, not just with how many students we can get to enter college, but what they're doing after. Are they graduating? How long is it taking them to graduate? It doesn't end when you walk through the doors in August, So we really are trying to find ways to track that, support that, which is one of the reasons why we had that merger, and we're now even on the campuses, and we're looking to move into four-year colleges also, hopefully with time. And then the way that you implement it, this again is our suggestion. It differs by school, but it would be led once a week by the counselor via ELA class push-in. There's no grading system at all. You don't have to grade. It's not a course. Feel free to shape the lessons to fit your class needs and resources. And also, there's a journal aspect at each session. And we encourage counselors if they have time to write feedback to students in those journals. But if you don't have time for that, again, it's something that's optional. Okay. So, for the last 25 minutes, shall I say? Did everyone bring binders? And who brought a binder? No one brought a You guys, that's great. Okay, so there's 21 of you. Can we get groups of 5 groups of 4, and one group of 5, and the rest is of 4? And see if we can group up with some. There's like one binder in the group at least. So if you have a binder, get someone who has a binder to come onto your side. Who has a binder? We need one.
Now we need possession.
I've got the one I just got today.
Oh, there you go. We got a binder.